Okay, this is a quick little video to explain about preheating your cast iron pans. People talk about how I've had several people post saying that they don't understand why their stuff is sticking. One of the things you need to do is preheat your pan. Don't just crank it up. I'm going to use this skillet, and right now just sitting on top of the stove, 95 degrees. I'm going to turn the heat on. I'm going to run it up to about 3.5. Okay, and I'm going to let that preheat. Probably preheat for about 5-10 minutes. And I'll show you where it's at once it gets there. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. I'm still set on 3.5. The temperature is about 180. It's still climbing. It'll climb up. I mean, if you leave it sit there, it'll climb up to probably 400 at least. You want to start your cast iron slow. Don't just crank it. Don't just crank the heat up, to 7 or 8. Start it slow, 3.5, 4, whatever. Let it get up a little bit. Then you can turn it on up. I don't ever turn it past medium. The reason you do this is because if you crank especially with these electric ovens, electric stoves, they will turn up heat. I mean, fast. This cast iron is cold, and you put a hot coil to it right away, and you'll do that a few times. You're going to end up just warping your pans. Warped pan. You ever had a pan you sat down on a flat surface and it just spins around? That's because the bottom is warped. If you'll notice, this one, it moves a little bit, but that's because it's on a slick surface. But it doesn't spin. The bottom is still flat. That's because I don't just crank the heat up on it. Anyway, you crank the heat up on it to about medium, and you can let it go ahead and warm up a little bit more. I'm up to 224. Optimum cooking temperature for most things is going to be about 275 to 300. When I cook an egg, 300 to 325, I'm probably a little hotter than I really want to be. So I would say probably 275 to 300 tops. Once you get it up, once you get your heat up on it though, one of the things you can do to check your temperature, and I'm sure you may have seen this before, but you can sprinkle a little water on it off your finger. Now you see it. It doesn't steam right off, so it's not very hot yet. Once it's hot enough, that'll steam right off. We're still at around 240 or so, 250. I'm going to let that heat up just a little bit more. Okay, I've got about 8 minutes of preheating time. Right now the temperature is finally up to 305 degrees. That's plenty hot, if not too hot. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my temperature down, and I can probably turn it down to about 2.5 to 3. Okay. This pan is probably too hot for some things, but it'll be fine. You put if you're going to put bacon or meat or something like that on here, it's going to cool down as soon as you start putting stuff on it anyway, so it's not that big a deal. But if you're going to start out with putting an egg on it and you put a little butter on there or whatever, it's going to be pretty hot for a little bit. Once you get your pan preheated like this, you can go ahead and start cooking. Set your temperature at a fairly low temperature. This, I don't know, I leave mine right around 3.5 all the time. The fact is, normally I don't turn it up to 5 or 6 to preheat it. I just let it preheat for about 10 minutes at 3.5, and it'll be this hot. The longer you leave this pan right here, the hotter it will get. So I'm at 333. I could leave that sit like that at 300, and it'll go on upwards of 400, 450, just on that setting right there. Cast iron soaks up heat. It doesn't just come to heat and sit there. The longer it sits on the heat, the more it soaks it up. So the way these ovens are set up, they come on and go off, and they, depending on what temperature you set them on, is how long they stay on. And then they go back off, and they keep the surface of the glass surface warm. The problem is these pans, they don't let off. You put heat to them, they'll hold that heat till the next time it comes on, and then it just collects more heat. So anyway, that's pretty much how you want to preheat your pans. As I said, don't ever turn it up past medium. That's plenty high, unless you're going to sear a steak. And if you're going to sear a steak, I would suggest you put the pan in the oven and set it to about 400, 450 degrees, and let it preheat in the oven for 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Then take it out and sear your steak on the grill, because if you do it in the house, you're going to have lots of smoke. If you have any questions, just leave some comments. Comments or questions. Thanks for watching.